What's up, J Fusion fans, and welcome back to another video. And we are going to review the entirety of Machine Sentai Kiramager, and of course, we're going to talk about the final episode as well. Yes, as of this recording, February 28th, 2021, we have just witnessed the final episode of Kiramager. And, well, you know what? I'm just going to start off by reviewing the show. But before that, I would like to remind everyone that these videos are not intended for viewers under the age of 13. So please be advised and uh, please do be ready for some spoiler alerts just in case. So, anyways, let's get started. All right. So, what do I think about the entirety of Kilometer? Oh, sorry, my eye is itching. But anyway, so it's been actually really fun. It's definitely not the biggest Super Sentai that I've ever seen. Like, I could probably name other Sentai shows that could probably top Kiramager, but for what it is, it's generally awesome. Now, where does this awesomeness come from, if you ask me? So, of course, we do know that the Kina Majors are a team, right? So, of course, given that they are a team, they work together, but each member still shows individuality, and that individuality put together creates, well, the perfect team. So, I think Kinamager really shines in episodes that are character centric. Well, I could say personally that my favorites would be like personally, like episode 10 is one of my favorites. Uh in terms of other characters, well, there's Senna's team up with the Geki Ranger cast, specifically the mother and daughter Natsume. So, who else? Sayo's date. That those two episodes, that two-parter was actually quite amazing. So, anyway, yeah, I think those episodes for me were like the very best that I could think of. Oh, though of course, I would say that Kiramager had its low points as well, such as Mabushina getting drunk on tea. That was just out of nowhere. So, again, uh, most for the most part, like the episodes that are very much character centric, like they bring out the individuality of the characters. So, I guess that's the high point for me. Although Judo himself, well, I guess he does shine in later episodes. Like, I forgot which episode it was, but definitely a more recent one. Like, it tackled online bullying and such, and it that episode. Of course, not only does it show Judy as a nice person, but there's also some social commentary there. Again, like I said, that episode had the topic of bullying, right? Especially online bullying, to be particular. And it's not just like regular school bullying. I say, like, I know it's not a good thing, but like, for example, things that Jude experienced, although he probably has been oblivious to it, but definitely the victim of bullying who really suffered because of it, they showed it, and how it affected that person, that aspiring manga artist. So that was, well, not really one that I did enjoy the most. No, it's not one of the enjoyable ones, but it it was one of the episodes that made me think, you know, like it showed how deep it was. And the episodes where the machines were, you know, basically turned into toys. Well, yes, you could say it was an episode designed to sell more, given that the sales for the toys were quite low. Now, it focused on the relationship of a single mother and her son. So, how hard uh, life is for single parent families, you know. And Japan, unsurprisingly, has quite a lot of cases of single parents. There are a lot of single parents in Japan. And probably to them, if they saw that episode, it would probably been so relatable. So sometimes Kinamager has those deep moments as well, which again I don't enjoy as per a kid show, but definitely when it makes you think, it's interesting in its own way when they do that. So the villains, well, it's great to see a human-faced villain again in the form of Yodonna, and uh, villainess at that. And interestingly, Yodonna is a good character. Like not a good person. Like she is evil, but what I meant by that was that her portrayal. So Nashiko Momotsuki did a good job, I think, portraying Yodonna, uh, and I do think she is top tier waifu, if I might say so. So if I may say so, she's top tier waifu. So yeah, uh, although for the other villains, Garza was good. Garza was good, and Kuranchura, well, he became a bit more interesting in later episodes with his face turn. So how it happened, so you gotta watch that for yourselves if you haven't yet. But uh, for the final boss, well, uh, I really thought so. Okay, so I may also have to mention Garza again. So back in my previous videos, you know, I've been talking about Garza. So I was hoping that he'd become the final boss when he obtained the Lord Garza form, but apparently everything was just a plot designed by Yodon himself. So maybe a bit of a spoiler here. So Yodon fakes his own destruction, and then when Garza lowers his guard, Yodon comes back, takes everything away from him, but it led to some interesting situations. So I'm not going to say anymore in order to not spoil that part. But what I wanted to say is that this twist betrayed my expectations, yet in a good way. No, I was expecting something, I was given something different, but it ended up being interesting. Did I did like do I think this was the best decision? Probably not, but nonetheless, it made me go, okay. Like no, not like the no way they didn't like no, not the kind of like shock and awe type, but like okay, interesting. So that kind of scenario. Now let's move on to the final episode. Can't believe I'm talking about this, but every show has to end. So Of course, it's your typical fight the last boss in order to save the world, and of course you do have your uh, mecha or robo battles or Zord battles if you want to be if you want to use the Power Rangers terms, that's fine. So you have your giant battles, but interestingly, the final battle is actually like the actual final fight between Yodon and the Kiramagers. You know, like they were normal size. So Yodon got shrunk down. Uh, he lost most of his powers. How he lost his powers, that one I'm not gonna spoil. Uh, so he lost most of his powers, so he shrunk down to human size or normal size, and then it was then that the rest of the Kiramagers ganged up on him, and of course, considering Yodon, he wasn't gonna go down to the fight. Now, speaking of Yodon, so we always see him like switching masks, right? But the face that we see normally is actually a mask on its own. So, in the final episode, we see Yodon's true face, so how he actually looks like without that mask. Now, of course, you're gonna have to watch the show for yourself in order to see how he looks like. Now, of course, after the battle, it's cliche, so everything's done and dusted, so everyone's back to their normal lives, of course. Interestingly, Shiguru is the only one who still wore his Kiramager uniform. Everyone else was wearing a civilian outfit. So the ending or the actual ending takes place like 3 months after the battle with uh, Emperor Yodon. So of course everything's hunky dory. Now there are some things that still remained the way they were, but what I mean by that is, well, King Oradin still is in his Kiname stone form. Queen Mabayune is still in a headdress form. So those were left unresolved, maybe intentionally, but like I would think it's rather a compromise, but nonetheless, even Crystallia has been restored. How it was restored, of course, you would have to see it for yourself. So, yeah, the Kiramagers had some sort of reunion thanks to a device inspired by Alexa. Uh, what's also interesting is that Juru and Kurantula still have some sort of communication. So yeah, they became really good friends, and of course, Juru and Mizuki, so his former bully, well, you know how it is. So yeah, that's quite an interesting way to wrap the show. But so Mizuki shows Juru a sketchbook. So she apparently asked him to draw her, but interestingly, what Juru drew was not Mizuki. So she's just in the small corner of the sketchbook, but he drew a group of 5 new warriors, and yes, those are the Zenkaigers. So he drew the Zenkaigers without actually knowing who they were. But I guess this is just like a good Easter egg that yeah. So it's just basically an Easter egg, and of course we're probably going to see some kind of team up in the future. Now, in the episodes or in the finales that starting from Deca Ranger, so from I think Deca Ranger finale, so they were the first ones to have a handover or like passing of the torch, so to say. And usually it is done inside of a studio, but for this handoff, it's actually done outside. No, it's one of the outdoors actually. I remember. Now I remember. So we had Shinkenger and Go Onger, so it was actually outside because I remember the explosions. Yeah, so that was actually my favorite handover, by the way. So seeing uh, Go on Red with his Go on Saber or his Road Saber and Shinken Red with the Dekka Daizanto clashing swords, that's the most badass handoff I've ever seen. So, yeah. Anyways, uh, we do also see a preview. Yes, a preview of the upcoming team up between Kiramager and Ryu Soldier. Yes, it's still going to happen apparently, and of course, we will share info on that very soon. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so to wrap up this video, uh, so I'm going to give Kinamager final episode a rating of uh 4.5 out of 5. So it was very enjoyable. There were a lot of scenes that I like, although uh there are some like too much cliche moments, I think, but yeah, uh overall it was an enjoyable episode, and if I were to give Kira Major an overall rating as a series, I would give it a 4 out of 5. So again, it had its high points and low points, although the good outweigh the bad. If they only were just consistently good, they probably would have gone higher on my, you know, they would have gone higher in my opinion. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the Kina Major as much as I did. Well, if you haven't seen the final episode yet, of course, go watch it for yourselves first. But yeah, it was definitely a fun series on its own. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Zenkaiger. So tune in next week. So we're actually going to review the first episode of Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, please do leave a like, comment, share this video, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from GE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you when we review Zenkaiger Episode 1. Zenyok Zenkai!